What is going on, everybody? My name is Tyler Knaeble, and today we're going to be talking about some fantasy football steals that you can get in your 2023 drafts. So without further ado, let's get into it. First steal I got for you guys is going to be Tyler Algee from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he's currently going off the board as RB48. And this is a guy, he rushed for 1,000 yards as a rookie. He was number 12 in evaded tackles, number 12 in breakaway runs. And everyone thinks that he's just going to have this kind of Alexander Madison role from last season and the previous seasons for him, where he's going to be this handcuff. He's going to be a backup. He's not really going to see the field a lot because now he's playing behind the 8th overall pick in the draft by the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson. So everybody thinks that he's going to get all the carries and Tyler Algee is going to be left for dust. Well, I don't think that's going to be the case this year. He's not going to only get like 5 touches a game. He's going to get a lot more than that. He's going to be very involved in this offense. And I think, especially in short yardage with like fantasy owners, they're probably going to want Bijan Robinson to get those short yardage touches. But I don't think he's going to get them because Tyler Algee just has a good power kind of game. I know everybody thinks that the easy low-hanging fruit comparison is Bijan Robinson and Derrick Henry. In terms of Arthur Smith came from Tennessee where he had Derrick Henry and he ran him into the ground and he's still being ran into the ground. Now, we know that, and now everybody thinks that he's going to do the same thing with Bijan Robinson. But the only thing is that Arthur Smith told us that's not going to be the case. Let me just roll the clip. This is the clip right after the draft, and this is what Arthur Smith had to say about the Bijan and Derrick Henry comparisons.
On the surface, it was like, oh, yeah, running the football. Well, Derrick, unique. We're not asking Tyler. We're going to never ask a player to be something like that. And the way we ran it last year in 22, very similar results as we had in 20 in Tennessee, completely different run game. We were pistol, we were zone read, we did all kind of different things. So Tyler and Bijan and Caleb Huntley or CP, whoever's here, whoever was up on game day, they'll all have unique roles, but nobody will be Derrick Henry. I can promise you that.
My guess is this backfield is going to be closer to kind of a CMC and Elijah Mitchell kind of role, where Elijah Mitchell was still very involved last year when CMC was on the team, when Elijah Mitchell came back from injury. That's what this backfield is going to look like. So these are guys currently going ahead of Tyler Algee, and here's who I'm taking. I'm taking Tyler Algee over Jaylen Warren, taking him over Tank Bigsby, Jamal Williams, and Khalil Herbert. These are guys that are all going above Tyler Algee right now in drafts, and I'm smashing Tyler Algee. See, he's a fleece. He's a fleece at this point in drafts. So take advantage and take Tyler Algee. Now we're going to move on to our next fantasy steal. It's going to be Marquise Brown, one of my favorite receivers just from a talent standpoint, blazer off the top. But we saw more than that from him last season, where over the first 6 weeks when D-Hop was suspended, Marquise Brown was absolutely feasting. Here are some of his stats when it was him as the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. He was averaging 10 targets, 7 catches, 80 yards, had 3 touchdowns. He was the wide receiver 8 over that span in the first 6 weeks of the season. Now, I know it's not that big of a sample size, but when you look at the top 7 guys who were the guys ranked above him, here's who we had: Diggs, Kupp, Jefferson, Hill, Adams, Waddle, and Chase, and then Marquise Brown. So I feel like that's a pretty good group of company to be in for Hollywood Brown. The other thing is, who is he competing for targets? Zach Ertz? No. Trey McBride? No. Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch? No. Rookie Michael Wilson? He's the only guy in this offense that can actually do anything in terms of a receiving role. And I think the X factor in all this is going to be Kyler Murray, because he tore his ACL. Now, a lot of people don't know when he's going to come back, but there is a pretty good history of quarterbacks tearing the ACL and then coming back to play the previous season. Now, we don't care about really the rushing side as it pertains to Kyler Murray specifically. We just need Kyler Murray in there for his arm for Marquise Brown to benefit from that. So here's some other looks of kind of other quarterbacks going around who also tore their ACL. So Kyler Murray tore his ACL on December 12th. Joe Burrow tore his ACL and MCL on November 22nd. He started every game the next season. Carson Wentz tore his ACL and LCL on December 10th, which is pretty much almost the same date. He missed the first 2 games, and then he played the rest of the season. RG3 tore his ACL and LCL on January 6th, and then he came back and started week 1. So I think people are a little bit wanting to jump the gun that Kyler Murray is going to be gone. Also, Kyler Murray might be 6'1" now. That's great for the boy. I'm a big Kyler Murray guy. Anyways, if Kyler Murray can get back before like week 4, Marquise Brown, absolute fantasy steal right now. Next fantasy steal we're going to be talking about is Damien Harris. He's currently going off the board as RB38 right now. When he's healthy, he's an absolute beast. I mean, injuries plagued him last season in 2021, but he was the leader in that backfield when Ramondre Stevenson was his backup. And then he gets hurt, and Ramondre Stevenson has the season that he had. But that doesn't happen if Damien Harris doesn't get hurt, because Damien Harris is a really good running back. In 2021, Damien Harris was number 8 in breakaway run rate. He is number 5 with total touchdowns with 15, and he was number 9 in dominator rating among other running backs in 2021. This guy is a beast. He can break off long runs, and he can also score touchdowns. What more do you want from a guy or a running back? And oh yeah, he's in the Bills offense this year, which Devin Singletary had a pretty good roles, and I think we agree that Damien Harris is a better running back. In this offense, Devin Singletary finished as RB31 in 2020, the RB24 in 2021, and then the RB22 in 2022. This is the exact role that Damien Harris is going to slot into, and he's currently going off the board as RB38, and he's a better runner than Devin Singletary. I don't think that's a hot take to say or anything. People also think that James Cook is going to take over this backfield. He's not going to see more carries than Damien Harris this year. I would almost guarantee it. He will not see more carries than Damien Harris this year. He might get like the higher value touches that everyone is always talking about, but he's not going to get more red zone carries, especially, and he's not going to get more carries than Damien Harris this year. Give me Damien Harris in this packed Buffalo Bills offense. Next guy we're going to have up is Geno Smith. Finishes the QB6 last year and currently going off the board as quarterback 15.
No respect.
What is going on with Geno Smith? The disrespect. People are writing off Geno Smith. Well, guess what? I'm writing back because I'm all in on Geno Smith. Geno Smith was top 5 in all of these stats, and these stats we're thankful of. Billy Muzio over at Man vs. Machine podcast. Go give it a listen. Geno Smith was top 5 in true completion percentage, number 4. Deep ball completion percentage, number 5. Pressure completion percentage, number 5. Play action completion percentage, number 3. Clean pocket completion percentage, number 3. QBR, number 6. Completion versus man, number 3. Carries. Geno Smith carries. He was number 8, not top 5, but he was How? How did that happen? He averaged 22 rushing yards per game. He only had 1 rushing touchdown, but still, he gives you a little bit on the ground, a lot more than you might realize. So I love that. Another crazy stat. This is credit of Nick Ercolano over on Twitter. Go give him a follow too. Great guy. Russell Wilson played in 10 years in Seattle. Never threw the ball more than 558 times in a season. Geno Smith threw the ball 572 times last year. He threw the ball more than they ever let Russ did. Everyone wanted to let Russ cook. They should have been screaming for Geno. Let Geno cook. He finished his QB6. He's going off the board as QB15. His boy got better weapons. They had JSN in the draft. They still got DK Metcalf. They still got Tyler Lockett. Noah Fant is a serviceable tight end. A good O-line. They even add a backup running back for some reason. Which, I mean, not good for Kenneth Walker, but it's probably going to help Geno Smith. So I don't know why he's ranked so low. I'm taking him over Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Dak, Anthony Richardson, and maybe even Deshaun Watson. That's probably where I draw the line. Geno Smith, absolute fantasy buy this year. Last guy we're going to talk about is Dalton Kincaid, currently going off the board as the tight end 11 via underdog ADP. Now, people are in outrage about Dalton Kincaid.
Can't do it.
Because everyone's looking at rookie tight end. That's all you hear about. Rookie tight end. Rookie tight end hasn't done this. Rookie tight end hasn't done that. Let's actually dive into who these players are. Everyone just wants to give the base sheet of rookie tight ends and how they don't do anything in the league to start off. Dalton Kincaid isn't one of these big brutes. He's not he's not the Darnell Washington type. He's not the Laporta type. He's a pure receiving tight end, and that's what people fail to realize. His last year in college, he had 70 receptions, 890 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Now, let's take a look at some of the other first-round tight ends and how their stats were in their last year in college. All we care about right now is receiving, okay? TJ Hawkinson, his last year at Iowa, 49 catches, 760 yards, 6 touchdowns. It's a good season. It's not better than Dalton Kincaid's season. Noah Fant, last year at Iowa, 39 catches, 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. Not better than Kincaid's. OJ Howard, last year at Bama, 44 catches, 559 yards, 2 touchdowns. Definitely not better than Dalton Kincaid. David Njoku, 43 catches, 698 yards, 8 touchdowns. Not better. Hayden Hurst at South Carolina, 44 catches, 559 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not better. You know who the guys who had similar stat lines were? Is Evan Ingram, his last year at Ole Miss, 65 catches, 926 yards, and 8 touchdowns. You know what his rookie year stats were? 15 games played, 64 catches, 722 yards, 6 touchdowns, who was the tight end 5. That's a good sample size. Now, who else had a similar college production? Kyle Pitts. Pitts missed a few games in the last season, but the per game stats are very, very similar to the Evan Ingram stats and the Dalton Kincaid stats. What Kyle Pitts do his rookie year? Let's take a look. 68 catches, 1,026 yards, and a touchdown. Tight end 5. So people who are saying that Dalton Kincaid can't be this great tight end, they're just wrong. I think Dalton Kincaid can be a great tight end for your fantasy roster. And guess what? Dalton Kincaid is an absolute fantasy steal. And if you like this video, make sure you go smash that like button. Go leave a comment. If you don't like Dalton Kincaid, let's see the hate. I'm ready for it. I hope everyone has a great day. And make sure you go check out all the great stuff that's happening over at Player Profiler. Catch you in the next one.